Okay, so we are starting with the revision of JavaScript, and I'll write scripts that will revise the content. Your exam expects you to understand code. It will be multiple choice questions, but you really need to understand code to be able to give the right answer. And you need to understand some basic concepts of JavaScript, starting with a very important one, which is JavaScript is always written within the script tags. This script tag can be uh, placed anywhere in the head or in the body, as long as you are defining the elements referenced by the script before the script runs. For example, a script may be defined in the head. It is referencing some elements which are defined in the body later on, but the script runs only after a submit button is pressed. So in that case, by the time the script runs, the elements are loaded up. Otherwise, you have to make sure that the script is in the body, and if a script is addressing an element, it is defined. Let me give you an example. So I'll put a script in the body here. Now, if this script is addressing an element using document dot get element by ID, and it is saying I want the ID demo, and I want the inner HTML to be hello. Then such a script would actually expect that you should have already defined something with an ID of demo. So I'm just putting a paragraph PID equals demo. And if you don't do that, then it doesn't work. So let me just check this, and so you can see there it says hello. But if this is defined afterwards, now I can define it afterwards, no problem, as long as in that case when I call the script, it is called later on using a submit button. But in this case, see, it won't work. Okay, and this is important to remember, that in such simple cases, a script is calling an element and the element is not loaded. In fact, if you were to use error console on Firefox, it would tell you that not defined. So let me just go into Firefox and see if I can add Firefox here. Firefox. Let me see if Firefox and tools, web developer, error console. Is it the debugger now? I don't know. So there it is, and tools, web developer, debugger, console. Here it says document get element by ID is null. There is nothing. There is no such thing. It is a null. So under console, it gives me an error. So you can see that. And if I was to then place this p tag before the script and run this, hello, and the error you can see from the bottom has disappeared. Sorry about that. Okay, so important things, yeah, it goes between the script tags. Script can be in the head, script can be in the body, as long as anything referenced is defined before the script is called or before the script is executed. Let's look at some input and output statements. So let's look at output statements. You can use JavaScript to write out output statements. I'm just gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna keep my code a bit clean. I'm just gonna kill all of this because it still works in the browser and it just helps you to see the script very cleanly. I mean, you should be having that type equals text JavaScript. But by default in the modern browsers, if you don't specify this, the browser assumes it's going to be JavaScript. So just for the sake of revision, I'm going to keep it clean, so you can see the code clearly and you can see what's happening. Okay. So output statements, double slash is a comment. So output statements, you can have document dot write, and you can say hello, simple output statement. I'm using the same file. There you go, hello. Okay, it's giving me something about the encoding and these other areas, so I'm going to just turn off my console for now. But that's fine. Okay, document.write hello, and then I can say document.write hello Dilip. You can see what it does is it puts Dilip immediately after hello. So if I want a space, I can actually put a space here and there. So I put a space after hello. Or what I can do is I can say hello, and I can add another string or another variable. I can say hello Dilip here, and I can take this. So it's basically the same thing. I'm adding it in one line. I can use a plus sign to concatenate a string and maybe a variable, which we will see very soon. Actually, why not? We can do it right now. Variable name equals, there you go, awesome. And I can say hello plus name, and it says hello awesome. And some might disagree and say no, it's not awesome. Hello not so awesome. So if I go here and refresh it, it says hello not so awesome. But there you go, you can concatenate it. There is another thing called document dot write ln. Now this write ln actually writes a line, and if I say hello again, let me put write ln first and put this next so I can show you what's happening here. Write ln is supposed to start on a new line, so let me see if that actually works. It's not working. The difference in write and write ln used to be that write ln starts with a new line. Let me look it up in W3 Schools best source, and you can see it's not always the case that we know everything, but that's what write ln is meant to do. And you can see it actually says that the write ln method is identical to write with the addition of writing a new line character after each statement. So it should write a new line character. So if I was to say document dot write ln again, I should get this on a new line. But it's not. In Firefox at least it's not. Maybe let me see if it's actually doing it in Chrome. Now So anyway, for now, just write and write another same. There are other types of outputs. We have alerts, alert. So you can alert name, and let's run this. Alert is this alert box pops up. There it has alerted the name. Not so awesome. So alert is one. You also have something called confirm. Now this is important. Confirm. You can have confirm something like confirm. Are you awesome? Okay. Or I can even change this as with a variable. That's not a problem. So confirm actually pulls up a dialog box and it gives me an option OK and cancel. The alert window does not give me options of OK and cancel. It gives me an alert and I just say OK, I've got your message. But here it says, are you awesome? I can say no. How is it used? It's used in this way. You can have something like variable name is equal to, so you take a confirmation, or you can say confirm returns a true or false value. Just a variable, because it's a boolean value, a true or false value. I'll give it a proper name. Variable valid, is it a valid name? So you can say if valid, so this is going to be true or false, and an if statement, this will evaluate to true or false. So if I say okay, what happens is true comes here, and if valid, you can say document dot write welcome, and you can say welcome plus name. So you can, the name is up here. Else document dot write. What do you want to write? Please go away is a polite way of saying something, I guess. So please go away. Now let's see. I'm going to run this program. Confirm is asking me, are you awesome? If I say cancel, it says please go away, not so awesome. And it's saying not so awesome because that's the variable name. Let's change that back to something more meaningful, delete. And let's run this again. Are you awesome? Yes, I am. Welcome, Dilip. Are you awesome? Cancel. Please go away, Dilip. You see how it works. Confirm is a pop-up window which takes an input and returns true or false. And if it's true, and you know how this equates to true or false. In fact, I'll show you. If I say alert valid, okay, if I say alert valid soon after the confirm, see what happens. Are you awesome? Okay. See this true here? It has popped up. Valid, true. And if I actually run it again and I say cancel, it pops up false. So this confirm, this statement is returning a true or false, going inside valid. And just to show you, it returned a true or false. I put that comment. And we do this a lot in debugging. We alert out variables just to see what is the variable holding. And if it's valid, and this is the same as if you want to do the things like if valid equals to true, or if valid equal to something, that will also work, but not needed. If valid is enough in programming, that's okay. So if I run this, are you awesome? Okay, welcome. So even if valid double equals true, and we'll talk about that comparison operator in just a second. So we have done the outputs. Before we proceed, let us write an input statement. I'm going to take this. You can see here I have hard coded the name into name, and I'm being a bit naughty here. I should have semicolons here. JavaScript is forgiving in some cases. Now because I've got a condition here, no semicolon here. but semicolon, semicolon. Okay. Now I'm going to take away this name and I'm going to take it as an input. So let me show you the input statement. There are two types of inputs very popularly used. Actually, the only type of input that's popularly used is the form input, and all of you have made a contact form. And whatever is going to be input in that form, you will validate whether the input is good or bad using JavaScript in your assignment, but we talk about that later. For these exercises, I will use the prompt input. It prompts a user, hey, give me an input. So var name, instead of hard coding it, I'm going to use a prompt, and it's actually window.prompt, but prompt is fine. Prompt, the message to the user, and an example if you want. The second part not necessary. Okay. So prompt by itself doesn't do anything until you capture it in a variable. So prompt, what's your name? And now you can give an example if you want, John Smith. Okay, yeah. I'm going to save this. Now, because this is a video, you can really pause the video, try out these examples if you want. I'm going to save this and run it. There, what's your name? John Smith. Example, Dilip. So the example said John Smith, so I'm thinking, oh, it wants John Smith, Dilip Katiyar, okay. And it says, are you awesome? Okay, I am awesome. And says, welcome, Dilip Katiyar. So there you go. You've got a very simple example that shows you prompts. Now I'll just close, I'll keep Chrome actually. I will get rid of Firefox. So there's a simple example here that's got an input. This is an input prompt, goes into a variable. You have different types of output. Document.write is an output, alert is an output, and confirm is an output where it actually takes something from you, yes or no. Okay, and that confirm one is an important one, often appears in your exams in some form or the other. And most importantly, you will use confirm in your database assignment. When you start learning how to delete records from a database, you really want to confirm from the user, hey, are you sure? Just like when you delete rows from PHPMyAdmin, it confirms, hey, are you sure you want to drop this table? Are you sure you want to delete this record? In the same way, when you learn how to write a HTML interface for a user who can edit records, and when the user tries to delete a record, you want to make sure, hey, are you sure you want to delete this customer from your database? Are you sure you want to delete this record? And you will use this confirm then. So moving on. I'll save this, and I might put these on the G drive, or I'll put these examples also along with the videos. So the next thing we are going to do is we'll look at a function, and we will look at parsing statements. So we will look at using numbers to calculate and how numbers can be treated as a decimal or as an integer. So let's get into that. I'm going to save this as a second example. So I'll just write a simple piece of code without using the function, and then I'll make it into a function. Let's say I have a variable number 1. It's equal to, just going to take a prompt. I'm going to prompt the user, give me a number. May I give an example or not? and variable number 2, give me another number. I can say product is equal to num1 multiplied by num2. So I'm doing some mathematics with this number, okay? I'm doing some mathematics with this number. I'm saying document.write the two numbers multiplied equals to and plus product. Okay, so I'm taking two numbers and I'm saying the two numbers multiplied equals to product. We'll just keep it a bit more cleaner. Yeah, there you go. So prompt, whatever input the user gives, it goes into number 1. Another prompt, this time it goes into number 2, num2, and then I've got another variable called product, which is multiplying these two, and I've got a statement that says the two numbers multiplied equals to this. So I'm going to run this. Give me a number, I can say 3, give me another number 4. I'm expecting 12, the two numbers multiplied equals 12, so it's working fine. But what happens if I give this, and if I give this, it says the two numbers multiplied equals to NaN, not a number. What happens if I give a number, and by mistake E, a number by mistake F? It says not a number. Now this is because it is not parsing out the numbers. You must understand parsing. Right, it's something that appears in your question. So let's have a look at it. Now if I parse num1, I can say num1 should now be equal to parse. I want to parse it as an integer. Parsing it as an integer. So you can take num1, you can parse it and then put it back in num1. Another way of doing it is you can parse this whole thing, whatever the user gives you. So this is what the user gives you. I've put it inside brackets and I've put parseInt. So the parseInt function is taking as input the prompt and parsing it before storing it num2. So that happens in one line. You can do it in 2 lines. Take the prompt, put it in num1, take num1, parse it and put it in num1. Or take the prompt, parse it and put it straight in the number. Now let's see what happens. If I say 3 and a lot of letters after that, and if I say 4 and a lot of letters after that, it still gives me 12. Understand what happens here is when I give it a number, it says 1 is a number, I'll take it, 0 is a number, I'll take it, and it will keep taking till it finds numbers. The moment it sees something which is not a number, it stops. And after that, even if you do put a number, let's say if you put a number 5 and then you say delete and then you continue with the numbers, it won't help because it has only come up to 5. It parses one by one, says okay, 5 is a number, D is not a number, it will stop parsing then and there. So it's going to take only 5 from here. Let's try another one, 20 and some text. It's going to take only 4 from here. So 5 and 4, 20. And there are questions, there used to be questions, I'm not sure, but this one is a bit tricky and you need to understand how parsing works. It will keep parsing until it sees values which make sense to it. Let's parse as a decimal. So parse float will take the input and read it into a decimal. Parse int will read it into an integer. Very important. Should write it down, read it from the notes. So let's try parse float. Now, yep, 3 is a number, 0.5 is a number. Okay. And then the rest is not a number. It's going to take 3.5 now. Next number 3.5 and the rest is not a number. And you can still give numbers, but it's going to go up to here and say this is a floating point number. So I'm looking at an answer. My answer should be 1225, 12.25. So let's see. Yep, 12.25. The two numbers multiplied equals to 12.25. You can see how this works now. So it says, yep, 4 is the number, 5 is the number, 0 is the number, this is not a number. Okay? And then I'll just give the same number again. So it will lead up to 4.5. So this will be 20.25. Yep, 20.25. So it's working. It's working. It's parsing. It's doing the. It's very important for you to know that whenever you do some mathematics, you should parse the input. You should specify whether you want to use the input as a float or as an integer. And I'll put a comment here. Parse float for decimals, parse int for integers. Okay, it converts it into an integer, float converts it into a decimal. Right, I'll save that, and I'll stop this lesson here for now, and I'll continue in the next lesson.